is Getting Answers, Western Mass News.
Good Sunday morning. Hope you're having a good weekend. I'm Dave Mattson, and welcome to Getting Answers, where each and every week we focus on the issues and events in Western Massachusetts with the newsmakers and people who are making a difference. I'm joined by, for a mid-year visit from our Mayor of Springfield, Domenic Sarno. Good to see you.
Dave, always great to see you, my friend.
You.
And give my best to your son, Chris. He does a great job at Sci-Tech, and I'll tell you, he's much beloved there. We do the high school graduation, Symphony Hall. He's reading the names, and God bless him, he does a great job. But a lot of kids come up there, they give him a hug. That says a lot. That's a teacher that's reaching our kids. And I didn't realize he was that hell of a baseball player.
He was,
too.
yeah. Yep.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, he didn't get it from me, but as I said, how you feeling?
Good. Going in the right direction. I'll be Monday, tomorrow. I'll be at Dana-Farber for another treatment, and then I'm hoping got a PET scan coming up in August, and we're going in the right direction. But you've been through it. I feel good. Your body tells you when you got to take a break. Sure. But thank you for asking.
Keep you in our thoughts and prayers.
Thank you.
And hope everything comes out well.
Thanks.
A lot going on.
Yes.
I know we're just going to touch base on this because as you and I talked, legally you really can't say much about it. But the whole Boston-based Liberty Junctions plan for 125 Liberty Street, you weren't happy about it, but then we learned yesterday that two of the developers are filing suit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I made my very public comments on that, and people know clearly how I feel on that. So now I'm going to let the legal process unfold. And
as we tape this on Friday, just learning too that there's going to be a hearing next Thursday, the 16th, in Berkshire Superior Court. So it sounds like they're going to fast track this thing and hopefully get a decision made. So anyhow, so we're going to stay tuned to that. Yes. But earlier this week, a major announcement from the fire department. Yeah. Commissioner B.J. Calvi is retiring, replaced by Deputy Mike Rivera. Big changing of the guard.
It is, and bittersweet for me. Commissioner Calvi, BJ, did a tremendous job. Hands-on leadership. Yeah. He was there. He ran a great department. Nobody advocated more for his firefighters on equipment, apparatus, than him. I used to kid around with our CAFO, Kathy Bunno. I call her Dr. No, and Kathy said, "What does he need? What does he want now?" But great job that he did, and I remember we were at the, we dealt with a lot of natural man-made disasters, but I remember one time we were in tuxedos downtown at the Bright Knights Ball, and there was a fire at MGM. He's literally tackling the fire in a tuxedo. Great leader. Bittersweet for me. Sure. I did tell him, I go, BJ, I'd love to have you stay. And he said that, he said you've been great to me, but the time is right for me now to with Carrie, his wife, and they're
heading down south.
Yeah, South Carolina, but did an outstanding job, and many initiatives he put forward there, and too numerous to say, but just very well respected and great job.
Well, his replacement, making history in Springfield, is the first Latino fire commissioner. Yeah,
and he becomes actually the second Latino cabinet head ever in the city's history under my administration. Of course, the first is Gladys Oyola, who's, I think, the world of my city clerk and election commissioner. Anytime, Dave, as you know, you've been in the business a long time, anytime you're the first in anything, you have to, and you need to mention that because it gives inspiration on it. But, skin color, background, it doesn't mean anything to me. I want the best possible person.
And they're under a bigger microscope, too.
Exactly. Yeah. And really, with Commissioner Calvi, really took him under his wing. And I dealt with Deputy Chief Rivera, Mike, and soon to be Commissioner Rivera. And I like his style, leadership style. An Army veteran, big on training. He was always very big on training, and well respected. And it'll be a smooth and seamless transition. Also gives me long-term continuity. Also, because Mike is a younger person, but and I have there's great talent in the fire department. It's nothing against anyone else, but my head, heart, and gut felt that was the right pick moving forward, and we've picked some good people, and
I'd say served you well in the past.
Yeah, so we'll go from there.
You joined with the school superintendent,
Yeah.
Sonia Denal, to launch Massachusetts' first innovation school zone. What's it all about, and what city schools are involved?
Well, another first. We are the city of first, and we're first in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to do that, and working with Superintendent Dr. Sonia Denal, who's done a very, very good job.
2 years now.
Yeah,
right?
and Director Mike Calvin, who's really spearheaded this. He's done yeoman work, and this was a massive transformation or transfer from the empowerment zone back into our Springfield Public Schools. So I cannot say enough about his efforts and leadership of Dr. Sonia Denal. And Rosa Valentin on the school committee. She was the main person there. We've had great success with the empowerment zone, and we've had good.
And that's how where it came out of.
It came exactly, and the point there is about the autonomy and flexibility that was given there, and the leadership roles from teachers. It was from the bottom up, from teachers all the way up.
Yeah.
And we wanted now. They made extremely good gains. So 8 of them are coming back, including my old alma mater, the High School of Commerce. So we wanted to make sure that what we do well in the Springfield Public School system, we also could bring over what we did well in the empowerment zone. The old days, Dave, in teaching, you had a curriculum, and if that curriculum wasn't working during the school year, well, you got to wait until next year.
Yeah.
With the empowerment zone, we had the flexibility of, and it's the factual and statistics. We could move on a dime.
So you aren't wasting a whole year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On a week's time, we could move on it. So the innovation now still allows that movement on it, and it's been great. You got to remember, when I took over almost 20 years ago, we had a graduation rate that was barely over 50% and a dropout rate nearly 14%. I'm proud to say now, before the COVID-19 worldwide pandemic, we were as high as 86%.
Yeah.
The dropout rate was 1 point. Now we're on 82, 83% graduation rate, and dropout rate maybe a little around 3. Test scores have gone up, and we don't say no to anybody. We take everybody on.
Right.
So.
Well, the fact is, it's happening in the inner city too.
That's right.
This is unprecedented.
So we had to get the okays, not only local okays and
Yeah.
school committee okays, from DESE, Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, but we're the first. I had people coming from all over the country, governors and everything, looking how we did this empowerment zone, the partnerships that we formed with the teachers, with the business community, with the administration, with the state administration. Everybody got a seat at the table.
Everybody has a stake in it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's why it worked. So we want to continue it. But I give really a big shout out, besides to Sonia, to Mike Calvin. He really was the architect. I mean, he worked night and day, herding everybody together that this is going to continue to be beneficial. And I think the contractual stuff was well over 90-something% came in agreement. So the last thing I'll say about that, we're not doing it for us. We're doing it for our kids and families. It's working.
Yep.
Let's keep it going.
That's right. Yeah. That sounds good. I want to talk about the housing and the housing master plan for the next 20 years. I know you're the city's in partnership with some national consulting firms. What do you want to see in that master plan? Is to try to ease the housing crisis in the city of Holmes? Working
with my Chief Development Officer, Tim Sheen, a.k.a. Mr. Creative, and my Housing Director, Jerry McCafferty. I just recently met with Charles Buki, who's the consultant there. We have to flip the script here.
Yeah.
We've done numerous housing developments, and whether it's market rate or workforce housing. But gateway cities and the state have to relook at this. And this will strengthen our neighborhood areas and increase our tax base and bring in private investment. We have to retain people, keep people in their homes, and we have to invest in we do that, but people that have home ownership now that need help to be able to stay in their homes.
For their taxes, yeah.
And that increases the tax base too. So we're going to be looking at a couple targeted areas in the city. Now, I'll have to put some skin in the game.
Sure.
The city's going to have to put some money in the game, but in turn, we're going to go to the state and others saying that you need to put some money in the game. Because we need, besides the other programs we do, we need to concentrate on people that own their homes, that are struggling now.
They kind of get lost in the shuffle.
They need some help now. Now we do a lot with rehab and other systems, but this would be a completely different strategy. And again, it increases the tax base, it increases values, it increases people's investment. It also starts to draw even more private investment coming in there.
Yeah.
So that's the basic tenet on that, is that we got to look to help people stay in their homes, which means they might not be able to do some things.
Yeah.
And if you keep them in their homes, it strengthens the neighborhood. It does increase property values and increases the tax base and continues to build, especially first-time home buyer, generational wealth and equity. So it's a completely different strategy we're looking to do, with some underlying things that we have to do too, raising our standards and a little more, some even more enforcement, or drawing the line, especially with investors and absentee landlords.
Right.
Here's the standards.
Yeah.
We'll work with you. You don't meet the standards, I'm going to have to deal with you differently, because we got to, respect and strengthen our neighborhoods.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Mayor Sarno and I are going to talk about the fiscal year 2027 city budget. Stay with us. Welcome back to Western Mass News Getting Answers. Mayor Sarno and I talking about some of the stories that we share through the years. Yeah. One of these days we'll do a whole program devoted to that.
I think your viewers would enjoy. We'd be able to laugh at each other, ourselves, because we could tell some.
We have to do that.
Some stories we could tell, Dave. Some we couldn't tell.
We'll make a date for that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about the fiscal year budget. Fiscal year just starting a few days ago.
Yeah.
The City Council approving the a little over $1 billion.
Yeah, $1 billion, $39 million.
First time over $1 billion.
First time over $1 billion. Yeah, ever in the city's history. Ironically, about $862 million, or 83% of the budget, is non-discretionary. You can't touch it.
Yeah.
And the majority, about $708 million, is on the school side.
School department, yeah.
And then I got to come across and pay for school busing, which actually went down a little bit, but it's still about $44 million.
Costs too, sure.
And then that's school aid, another $3 million. But hey, it's important. We got to educate our kids and wrap around service to our family. It'll benefit us down the road.
Well, as you look at this too, I mean, there's so many communities, mostly smaller communities around this area, who are struggling with those fixed costs, like you have here in the city of Springfield. You've about a 5.5% increase over last fiscal year. It's key. I talked about the school department budget, public safety funds too.
Yeah, we had when you went up probably 4.5. I think school department went up about 5.8%.
Yeah.
They get a good chunk of funding from the state. But the big thing here, you mentioned it, a lot of other surrounding communities, whether large or small, are doing Proposition 2.5 overrides. Many, if not all, have failed. Yeah. I didn't say it. My CAFO, Kathy Bunnell, didn't say it. Standard & Poor's, when we went in for our rating meetings, again, they reaffirmed it. I have the highest bond ratings in the city's history. They said Springfield is a positive outlier compared to many other cities and towns across the state because of our strong fiscal management, our healthy reserves. In essence, we're spending what we're taking in, just like a household or a business. And reserves, and they, I think it's about 12 years in a row, balanced the budget without any use of stabilization funds.
12th consecutive year.
Yeah, unheard of. Yep. I think next fiscal year 2028 is going to be difficult. Maybe we have to dip into the rainy fund. I hope not, but we do this on the city side now. The reserves about 75 million, 74 point something million, and about 19 point something million in pension reserves too. 94 million in reserves. You got to remember, I took over. We're nearly at junk bond status.
Right. Well, the other thing you talked about too. We were talking last segment about keeping people in their homes. Yeah. And what we're seeing in these communities that are looking for overrides, who have passed them now you're squeezing them out because their taxes are up. But
yeah, and we try to be as fair as possible. I have a bevy of tax relief programs. I got the legislation passed. I'm thankful to the council, the home rule, and the legislative delegation, the targeted tax relief, which I've committed to start 1 million. I have 3 million in the other tax fund. These are people that fall through the cracks. I formed a separate committee. The HERO Act for our veterans, disabled veterans. I doubled everything. Now the state doesn't reimburse me on it. So if you're partially disabled, it's $400. I did $800. If you're fully disabled from $1,000, I did $2,000. I decreased the age for our seniors from 70 to 65. I upped their abatements doubled it from 500 to 1,000. Plus you have 41C abatements, and you can go for. So we're trying to be as fair, as possible. People say that, but they also say we want the services. Sure. Which means you got to pay for the service. You got to pay for the people that do it. My departments came in very, very lean. A lot of departments came in 2.1% or lower on it. But as I indicated before, out of the $1,039 million budget, $863 million non-discretionary, 83%. You can't touch it.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
No, you can't touch it. Benefits, health benefits, insurance, we're in the GIC. I know that's hurt some other places out there. We've been able to keep the increase to single digits or just a hair above double digits. That went up about 3 million. I think it's about 38 million, and I think it went up maybe around 10%. And then we're aggressive in paying down, making sure we get up our pension fund. But I've been able to keep everything going.
Challenging, though.
Economic development projects, housing projects, schools. Nobody's built or rehab more schools in my administration over in the state, $1 billion. Libraries, I'm building new libraries. Yeah. Parks, $130 million invested, in our parks. So the quality of life stuff we continue to do on it, and I try to be cognizant to the taxpayers and the business community. My administration's been very business friendly too, because that creates a good four-letter word. Not some of the words that people might call me at times, but jobs, J-O-B-S. Yep. So we try to, to do that. But I think S&P summed it up. Again, it wasn't me, Sarno, or CFO, Dr. No, Kathy Bunnell saying it. They said in writing, Springfield is a positive outlier in the way they do their fiscal management compared to other communities. So,
good time for a break.
Okay.
We'll leave it on that note. When we come back, the mayor and I are going to talk about public safety and problems at Union Station, how those are being handled. Stay with us. Back for our last segment with Springfield Mayor Domenic Sarno. I know back in early June there were some big problems at Springfield Union Station. Yeah. Dozens of teenagers engaged in brawls, loitering, trespassing. Have things calmed down there?
Yeah, they have calmed down, and police department under the leadership of Police Superintendent Akers have done a tremendous job down there. And I've also, youth development is near and dear to my heart from my old days as the old executive director of the old South End Community Center, and my days with District Attorney Bill Bennett, dealing with the borderline hardcore juvenile probationers to straighten them out with constructive community service. So we've had the Shannon Grant organizations down there 2 or 3 times. So there are, I really get pissed off at times. There's not enough youth development programs. There's a myriad of youth development programs if you want to take advantage of it. There are families there.
Sure.
But there is this.
It all starts at home.
It all starts at home. There's this sense of lawlessness that is occurring across the country when it comes to young people, because they know they face no repercussions. Don't get me wrong. We have some good kids. My whole thing with people that need the transportation on PVTA, fine and dandy. But we had a structured system before. We need a structured system. I want it to be safe for mothers with children on there. Talk to the bus drivers on one. For seniors that have to go, people that have to go to work, students, disabled, no issue on that. But a structured system, working with Assistant Superintendent Jose Escribano and the school department, we're going to get back to the passes and ID, because then you can nip in the bud or get those troublemakers off there. Yeah. Right now, anybody and their mother can walk right on that bus. Yeah. And then they, when you try to trespass them, they give you the wrong name, they give you the wrong address. And I just don't want something bad to happen. We've invested so much money in Union Station, of course, working with Congressman Neal, with Richie.
It's a beautiful spot.
And it's and so it has calmed down tremendously, and we want to keep it that way. But I do need, besides family intervention, I need the courts to back us up at times, because with the crime reform bill, it really took a lot of teeth out of the jury.
You've been saying this for a long time.
Yeah, well, besides the bail legislation there, but there's no. I remember my days again, South End Community, or with DA Bill Bennett. They want repercussions, but they want it quick, either good or bad, because it shows that you care. But right now, some of these kids are now graduating into becoming super juvenile predators now. You hear it all the time across the country, the gunplay that goes on.
If there's no repercussions,
There's
why
no
not, right?
on it. So it has calmed down.
Yeah.
But there has to be some responsibility and repercussions, and the family needs to know what their kid. And we have. I have great kids of all creed, colors, and backgrounds, City of Springfield. Don't get me wrong on that. But that night, Dave, after I left one of my 11 high school graduations that I did at Symphony Hall, which always rejuvenates me no matter what. I spoke about your son, Chris. It was my alma mater, high school commerce. Great. So I was going to mail some, after I finished my office, it was like 8:15, 8:30, I was mailing some letters, Liberty Street Post Office. And all of a sudden I see it was like the cavalry, my police department coming there. And I went in there, and Mary, okay? No, I said, don't do what you got. The kids just melee, out of control. I'll never forget that girl, the young girl.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. And they said, no, you're okay. She said, if I had a gun, I'd shoot every one of you cops. You can't. There's got to be consequences. You can't deal with that. But it has calmed down tremendously, and I appreciate the efforts of the police department. I have a great relationship with Sheriff Coach, with Nick. I cannot say, but the legislature cut his budget.
And they've got their own issues, I know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
We're out of time.
Oh, geez.
Always good to see you.
Good to see you, Dave.
Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
Good luck with your treatment and that test, and
I'll be around.
We'll be saying our prayers.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
My money's always been on you.
All right. Thank you. Thanks.
Springfield Mayor Domenic Sarno, my guest this weekend,
Thanks,
Getting Answers. My thanks to him. My thanks to you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Have a good week.